first Filipino migrants arrived in Louisiana in 1883 before the Philippines became a colony of the United States in 1898. These people were known as Manila men and spoke Tagalog, the native language of the Philippines today. Most had jumped ship from the Manila-Acapulco galleon trade. The American colonization of the Philippines which paved the way for an exodus of Filipinos to the United States. In 1903, the Pensionado Act was passed by the U.S. government, allowing political tutelage for qualified students to further their education in the U.S. The idea was to create a pool of qualified, highly educated civil servants embodying the American ideals and support self-rule. In the first decade of the American rule, pensionados were chosen from the wealthy Filipino elite. It was members of the same privileged class who were able to acquire education during the late Spanish period. However, as the free and compulsory American colonial educational system took root in the Philippines, educational opportunities were democratized. As a result, many of the later pensionados were young and intelligent government employees who were not necessarily wealthy. Becoming a pensionado was prestigious, and it promised a bright future. Second type of migrant workers were poor who came as a cheap labor supply for Hawaii plantations, California farms, and the Alaska fishing industry. The Filipinos were known as fast and speedy workers. The work was extremely hard, farming fruit, vegetables, and planting, working from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., 6 days a week. With aching backs, sweaty, and itchy hands, the workers hoped to save enough money to return and live well at home. The living conditions were unhygienic, bunkhouses or shacks. During this period, there was much conflict due to strikes and tensions between other migrant workers from Mexico and Japan. During the 1930s, the Great Depression, the migrant workers also suffered with whites accusing them of taking their jobs. The government decided to repatriate many Filipinos, but only 2,190 made the journey. World War II saw a big change in the fortunes of the Filipino immigrants when Franklin Roosevelt allowed the Filipinos to be drafted for military service. At the end of the war, some 10,000 Filipinos became U.S. citizens. 1965, the Immigration and Nationality Act was passed, allowing for a new wave of migration. This gave families the opportunity to portion relatives as well as in occupational expertise such as the medical field. In 1920, some 5,693 migrants resided in the U.S., growing to 45,208 by 1930. Today, some 3.5 million Filipinos reside in the U.S. One of the changes that happened in the USA was that they named the highway Filipino-American Highway.